You close the door, expecting a moment alone, just a few quiet minutes, and then, almost instantly, you hear it, the soft scratch on the door, the faint whine, or sometimes nothing at all, because when you turn around, your dog is already there, watching you, as if this moment mattered just as much to them as it does to you. At first, it might seem funny, even a little strange, because out of all the places you go throughout the day, the bathroom somehow becomes one of the most important destinations in your dog's world, a place they insist on following you into, no matter how many times you close the door behind you. But this behavior isn't random, and it definitely isn't just about curiosity in the way most people imagine. What's really happening in that moment is a mix of instinct, emotional attachment, learned patterns, and something much deeper that has been built over thousands of years of evolution, shaping the way dogs connect to humans in ways that are far more intense than we usually realize. Because when your dog follows you to the bathroom, they're not just following your movement. They're responding to what you represent. To them, you are not just someone who feeds them or takes them for walks. You are their reference point for safety, stability, and belonging, and any moment where you disappear behind a closed door can feel, even if only briefly, like a break in that connection. And depending on your dog's personality, past experiences, and level of attachment, that small separation can trigger a very real need to stay close, to monitor, or simply to be near you again as quickly as possible. So before you assume your dog is being clingy, needy, or even a little weird, it's worth understanding that this behavior has a reason, and once you see what's behind it, you may never look at that bathroom shadow the same way again. To understand why your dog insists on following you even into the most private spaces, you have to step back and look at where this behavior truly begins, long before modern homes, long before leashes, and long before the concept of personal space even existed for them. Dogs are descendants of wolves, and although thousands of years of domestication have changed many things, one core element remains deeply wired into their behavior, which is the instinct to live, move, and survive as part of a group. In a natural pack setting, separation is never casual, and it's rarely meaningless, because every movement of a pack member carries information, intention, and sometimes even risk, and staying together is one of the primary ways animals ensure safety and cohesion. So when your dog follows you from room to room, and yes, even to the bathroom, they are not making a random decision in that moment, they are responding to an ancient internal system that says, if my human is moving, I should probably be aware of it and if possible, stay close. From their perspective, you are not just part of the pack. You are the center of it. And when the leader or primary attachment figure suddenly disappears behind a closed door, something doesn't quite add up in their instinctive understanding of how a group should function. This doesn't mean your dog thinks you're in danger every time you go to the bathroom, but it does mean that your temporary absence creates a small break in the structure they rely on to feel secure. For some dogs, that simply results in quiet waiting nearby, while for others, especially those with stronger attachment tendencies, it creates an urge to re-establish proximity as quickly as possible. And in a world where doors exist but instincts haven't caught up, following you becomes the most natural response they have. Before we continue, if you enjoy understanding your dog's behavior more deeply and want to learn how to interpret these signals in everyday life, subscribing to the channel can help you see many things that normally go unnoticed. Beyond instinct, there is something even more powerful driving this behavior, something that doesn't come from survival alone, but from the relationship your dog has built with you over time, through repetition, trust, and emotional connection. Dogs don't just live alongside humans, they form attachments that are remarkably similar in some ways to the bonds seen between children and caregivers, where proximity becomes directly linked to comfort, safety, and emotional regulation. So when your dog follows you to the bathroom, it's not only about where you're going, but about what happens to them when you're not around. Your presence acts as a kind of anchor, something that stabilizes their environment and reduces uncertainty, even in situations that may seem completely ordinary to you. And when that anchor disappears, even for a short moment, some dogs experience a subtle but real shift internally, where curiosity mixes with a need for reassurance. This is especially true for dogs that have developed a strong attachment style, either because of their personality, their breed tendencies, or their life experiences such as being rehomed, spending time alone frequently, or forming a particularly intense bond with one specific person in the household. In these cases, following you becomes less about observation and more about maintaining emotional proximity, which is their way of keeping that sense of stability intact. It's also important to understand that your daily habits reinforce this connection constantly, because every time you respond to your dog, talk to them, make eye contact, or even just move through the house together, you are strengthening a pattern where being near you equals feeling safe. So when a door closes between you and them, it's not just a physical barrier. It's a temporary interruption of something they've learned to depend on. And for many dogs, the easiest way to resolve that interruption is simple. They follow. While instinct and emotional bonding explain a large part of this behavior, there is another layer that often goes unnoticed, and it has to do with something much more subtle, which is how your dog learns from patterns you repeat every single day without realizing it. Dogs are exceptional observers of routine, and over time they begin to associate specific movements, sounds, and sequences with predictable outcomes, even when those outcomes seem unrelated from a human perspective. So if, at any point, your dog followed you to the bathroom and something positive happened afterward, whether it was attention, a gentle voice, eye contact, or even just the reassurance of your presence when you came back out, that moment didn't disappear, it became part of a behavioral loop. From your dog's point of view, following you is not just about staying close, it's also a behavior that has been reinforced, sometimes unintentionally, through repetition. And the reinforcement doesn't need to be obvious to be effective. Even small reactions like speaking to your dog through the door, opening it after they scratch, or acknowledging them when you come out, can strengthen the idea that staying near you during that moment is the right thing to do. Over time, this creates a predictable pattern in your dog's mind, where your movement towards certain areas of the house, including the bathroom, becomes a trigger for them to follow automatically. It's not a conscious decision in the way humans think of choices. It's a learned sequence. And the more consistent your routine is, the stronger that sequence becomes. This is why some dogs don't just follow you occasionally, but do it every single time, almost as if it were part of a script they've memorized through daily life. Because in a way it is. They've learned that where you go matters, and staying close during those moments is both safe and, in many cases, rewarding. Now, understanding this layer changes how you interpret the behavior because it shows that your dog is not only acting on instinct or emotion, but also on experience. Now that you understand the instinct, the emotional bond, and the learned patterns behind this behavior, the question becomes much more practical, which is not just why your dog follows you to the bathroom, but what that actually means in the context of your specific dog. In most cases, this behavior is completely normal, and even healthy, because it reflects a dog that feels connected to you, aware of your movements, and comfortable enough to stay close without hesitation. It's a sign of trust, familiarity, and a well-established relationship where your presence has real value in your dog's world. However, the difference between a healthy attachment and an unhealthy dependency lies in how your dog reacts when they cannot follow you. If your dog simply waits outside the door, relaxes after a few seconds, or moves on to something else, then what you're seeing is balanced behavior, driven by curiosity, habit, and a natural desire to stay near you. But if your dog becomes visibly distressed, starts whining intensely, scratching excessively, pacing, or showing signs of anxiety every time you're out of sight, even for very short periods, then the behavior may be part of a deeper issue related to separation anxiety. And this distinction matters because one is simply a reflection of connection, while the other is a sign that your dog may not feel secure when they are alone. Understanding this allows you to respond in a much more intentional way, whether that means reinforcing independence through small daily habits, avoiding accidental reinforcement of clingy patterns, or, if necessary, gradually helping your dog build confidence when you're not around. So the next time your dog follows you to the bathroom, instead of seeing it as something strange or inconvenient, you can recognize it for what it really is. A behavior shaped by instinct, strengthened by emotion, and refined by experience, all coming together in one simple action that says more about your bond than it might seem at first.